Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it post game.
Get it ready, boys.
All right. Does that mean we're live? I started looking at this camera, but I remember Ryan told me to look here. DLS Stars, the final preseason game of the year.
Woo-hoo!
We are there. Stars Avs, 5 o'clock AAC. Let's start the show. We are on camera. I do have supporters club. That's what I was trying to figure out. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to DLLS Dallas Stars podcast. Sam Nestler here as your host without Owen Newkirk. Owen, we miss you. Have a good weekend back home. We'll see you soon. Here with Craig Ludwig and our boy Ryan back behind the controls. It is, folks.
Did you just get a shout out in there? Is that what they call that?
To Owen, yeah.
Oh, that was to Owen?
That was to Owen, yeah.
Oh, when's he coming back?
Monday. He'll be back Monday.
So we still got one more day left on our holiday.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get into all of this, let's talk about the DLS Diehard sale. Right now, we have some couple of different options for an amazing sale going on. Let's start with the $59 sale for the Branded Bills custom hat. $59, folks, for 1 year. You get a free Branded Bills Diehard hat. They are very cool. We got a bunch of them here. You got one on the screen. You can see the other ones here on the display for you in the studio. Or you could go for the standard, which is the $36 Diehard sale, which will give you the free T-shirt. Both options come with the 20% off merch, 20% off events, Diehard Discord, no ads, and all of the articles available, all that stuff. So go to alldls.com. Make sure you join. Luds.
Sam.
It is the final preseason game.
Oh.
Is that nice?
Yeah, it's nice. And we're only a couple days away from the start game or season, right? Game
Thursday,
1, Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday. No, I mean start of the season.
Oh, the NHL season.
Tuesday.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
get some real games going on. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think we're all just kind of trying to figure out who's the last couple pieces or who will be one of the new pieces on the team. And so we'll see what, again, the lineup that they're playing against tonight. We're not really sure about that either. I don't know how when a team puts in these kind of lineups, you can really assess some players because it's almost like the Ritzkovian, Ernie, whoever's Huru, R2, D2, D2. He's in there. Like I guess what you're almost doing is you're comparing him against American League guys.
Pretty
much.
much.
What I mean? Which doesn't really give you the measuring stick that you need.
Yeah.
Or you're looking for.
Yeah, well, Ryan, why don't we skip ahead here and go to the Colorado Avalanche lineup. We don't have lines from them, I don't believe, but they had a very optional skate this morning here in Dallas. I haven't confirmed this, but I believe they were in LA. They went to the Rams game because the owner of the Avs is also the owner of the Rams. And I think they took the trip and came straight here, so they were here last night instead of flying in today. So I think about 2 or 3 people skated this morning for Colorado. But as Luds was just alluding to, this is a very heavy AHL prospects type of team for Colorado. Scott Wedgwood, I don't know if he's going to start, but he's in there with Trent Miner. If you're looking at the names, you're seeing a familiar name in Makar. However, it's the other Makar, Taylor Makar. Outside of maybe, you have Yoel Kiviranta, you have Parker Kelly, Victor Olofsson, Samuel Girard, Malinsky's been a little bit of a story. That's about it, though, Lutz. So that's a great question because this is an important game for a few guys.
Yeah.
Right? As much as they may be blowing smoke at us, but everything we've gathered from being at the rink or talking to coaches, whatever, it sounds like there's a job that's still up for grabs. And this is an important game because Glenn Golitzin wants to see his team, how they go against, even if it's NHL guys, how they go in these games with NHL players around them. So for R2 Huru, Justin Ritzkovian, and Adam Ernie, what do you need to see from each of them tonight?
You know what? When you have a lineup like this, I guess you expect them to elevate against them because that would give you a little bit. But I think more importantly, it's how they play with people on their own team. And can they keep up? Can they think at the same rate and speed? They obviously, the 3 guys that you mentioned, they obviously do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be around right now.
Yep.
So, it's funny you mentioned Wedgie. I'm thinking if Wedgwood is looking at that lineup and he's getting the game tonight.
I don't know if he is. Maybe
I'm
he's
just
the backup.
saying, like, how does he look at that? Like,
because he's their starter right now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, without
the other guys-
Blackwood.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's an interesting one for them. I think that the key from this morning that I took away, we had a very optional morning skate for Dallas as well. I think there are only about 10 guys out there. But the Ernie, Huru, Ritzkovian, all three of them in the lineup tonight. And the key thing that Golden said to me is no matter who makes this team out of the camp, whether that's as a 13, 14 extra or it's in the lineup on opening night, he thinks that Artu Huru and Justin Ritzkovian have proven to him that they are NHL ready.
Which means if they're not here right now. Now again, Jamie Benn's spot is open.
Yep.
Right. So there's one of them there. But at the other, let's just say one of them is here. It basically means that if somebody else goes down, they're the first guy coming.
First line.
Yeah, because they won't keep them around. They got to play. So I mean, any extras. So, which is good news for those guys. I mean, they've been the ones that they're the one we keep mentioning their name all the time, right? And so it makes sense. So, but like I said, and the other thing is I'm looking at tonight. It looks like Nils is going to play, up with Thomas up there.
That's been the pairing. They didn't do lines this
not
morning.
In tonight, right?
No, Miro's out. Yep. Okay. So why don't we look at the Stars? This is
that was a segue.
Yeah, that was nice. This is just my projections. They didn't run lines this morning. So Robertson, Johnston, Bork was a line yesterday in practice. So that's my guess of what's going to stay, as well as Ritzkovian, Duchesne, and Sagan. With that one is confirmed. Glenn Goldson said he wants to see them up on the left wing with Duchesne and Sagan for Ritzkovian. The only thing he said was that Huru was in the middle. So my guess, he said he's going to have him around some NHL players. So my guess is not that he's going to play with someone like Ernie or even Bastian. I think he's going to be up with Steele and Colin Blackwell. That's just kind of my guess of the four lines there. But a key one for them, because he didn't really mention Ernie when he was talking about guys being NHL ready. And maybe it was just because we were talking about young players, and he's a 30-year-old guy, right. So maybe he's just in a different area. However, if we look at the blue line here, the defensive pairings, I'm pretty confident about this because Harley Lundqvist has been a pairing all of camp, and I know they really want to give Lundqvist every single opportunity to make that work. They don't want to take it away from him. Lindell, Lubushkin, Bishel, Petrovic is my guess, simply because Bishel has been skating with Petrovic. They could also go Bishel, Lubushkin, and Lindell, Petrovic, anything they want on there. And Jake Ottinger will get the full game in net. The thing for me on the blue line here, Luds, Vladislav Kolyachonok. We've been talking about him. He's been on that bubble back and forth. We weren't sure if he was going to make it. Always kind of seemed like the odd man out. Officially placed on waivers today. So he will either get claimed in the next 24 hours or he will make it to the AHL team in Texas. What are your thoughts on him? I
didn't see anything special that was going to have him crack that 6 or that 7, however you want to look at it. I didn't see anything from there. Not that it was bad. It was just didn't stand out to take somebody else's spot. Because right now, you'll keep an eye on Petro and Lundqvist tonight, right? And I think what you'll probably see is Harley gets the first power play group, and Nils will get the second power play group.
Yep.
Right.
It's weird with the power plays too, because Hintz, Rantanen, Heiskanen, all out.
Yep.
Those are all 3 players on your top power play. Yeah. So that one kind of takes away from your top. So what I think they'll probably do is take their second unit, which already has Thomas Harley on it, which may be why he was skating with that group. And they'll take that second unit, make it their first, and then kind of plug and play in their top unit, because their top unit now is basically Wyatt Johnston and Jason Robertson. That's pretty much the only players that are actually here.
You got Duchesne and Sagan.
Yep, Duchesne and Sagan are in. Yep.
And I like that Ritzkovian's up there, because you've got 2 veteran guys, 2 guys that play well together. And now what you're basically saying is, let's see how this kid can play with these 2 guys. So that's an opportunity for him right there to see not so much that if he can skate with them, more can you think with them.
Yeah.
And Tyler, like when Tyler plays with Matt, I mean, he just reads off him so well. And so I think you're looking to see how Ritzkovian picks up on where they are. And again, with Duchesne, the way that he likes to come in on that right side and pull up, and Tyler is generally the late guy coming through there up top. When Robo was there, whoever would be there, Marchment, whoever, that guy's got to go to the net. And so we'll keep an eye on that and see how he handles playing with those 2 guys.
Yeah, and the one thing on the defense, the last part for Petrovic, I know you're a big believer in Alex Petrovic.
I think it's a good pair.
Yeah, it seems like it could. The thing with him that's been most interesting, I think I mentioned this on our show yesterday, Glenn Goldson talked about it again today. He said no matter who it is that ends up in that 7 or even 8 spot on defense, he won't let them rot on the vine. is the way he worded it. And he said it again today. He said, we don't want them to sit out a bunch of games, not only because we want guys to play. We know the importance of playing people. Anyone thinking this maybe sounds like the opposite of a former coach, you are pretty accurate. But the thing about it is that that's going to get Petrovic into games if he's the 7 or whatever it might be. But also the schedule. He said the schedule is going to be brutal. Yeah. And there's 2 things that I take away from that. One, we know the schedule is going to be crazy back-to-backs and all these kind of things. They play 4 and 6 all the time because of the Olympics and the 3 weeks off and everything like that. The other side of it is they're going to play certain opponents that they're going to want a certain lineup against. And I think this team, maybe they had the personnel to do it in the past, but whether it was the coaching staff or just the way the team played, they didn't do it very often, where they said, you know what, we need a bigger lineup. Let's go in with these guys. And right now you can essentially go in, have Colin Blackwell on your 4th line for a game against maybe Colorado, let's say, and Nils Lundqvist on your blue line. Then you go into Florida and you bring in Petrovic and you bring in Bastian and you take out some of the smaller guys. Tell me that's not a luxury to have that can make this team a little bit harder to play against no matter who they play.
And I think both of the guys that you said in Petro, we've seen what he did last year in the playoffs, right? Him and Bichel are a good pair when they play together, and they're a solid player that plays heavy in their own zone. So, and man, Bastian, I think for me, every time he's been in the lineup, he's probably led the team in hits. He doesn't. It's not like he slows things down. He knows that he goes up and down the walls. He finishes the checks. He goes to the front of the net. All those little kind of things that you want, like a 4th liner to do. And he's willing to fight. So that's what you're talking about. And you know what? If somebody drops the ball, one of those guys, he earns himself a spot. Next thing you know, he's the guy that's in there playing most, more often than not. And somebody's got to win a spot back, whoever that may be. I think it's good because it keeps everybody competitive.
Yeah. So other than coming out of this completely healthy, which is obviously the number one concern for Dallas, what do you need to see? Let's go from the net out. What do you need to see from Jake first and foremost from this game? This is his last tune-up. He's only had 1 game. What do you want to see from him?
Be clean. Jake's a calm guy. I think Jake's got to be clean, and I truly believe that once Gully gets the guys that are playing in front of him and they're going to play a little tweak in their system in their own zone, you're going to see Jake be a better goaltender because he's not going to have to make Jake didn't have to make a ton of saves, but the ones that he had to make in the past seemed like them 10 bells one because there were breakdowns right in front of him. There was the wrong kind of coverage in front of him. So I think things are going to be cleaner in front of him, and he may just look calmer and quieter. And for that, he stays rested better and he stays healthy longer. Not that he's ever been, one of those guys that's been hurt, but I just think that, I think he's already excited, right? I mean, for what's upcoming.
Yep.
And you can't look too far ahead, but I think it's a big year for him, and I think it's a luxury for Dallas right now with the way Gully wants to play this game in his own zone and where Jake is at, and some other guys here too because of the Olympics and things like that. So I expect Jake to be good. I think tonight, I think Jake's going to have an easy night. That's what I think. He should.
Right? He should.
Yeah. But we'll see. And sometimes when you say it's an easy night and it's that last game before the real season starts, and generally it's the veteran guys that will go through the most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And then what are in the rest of the lineup? Because you like to pick a few things to watch for in each game, right? A lot of times. So who are you watching tonight? Other than, you said Nils and Petra.
But that's been the curious one for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just Nils, and I'm not watching Nils for him to make mistakes. I watch him in his own zone. I guess that's where I look at where he is in his own zone. But I compare like what a pair would be with whether it would be Nils and again, if he's going to play with Thomas Harley this year, I don't know if that's where they want him. If that's where it is, I don't see any weight on that pair.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that there has to be, but I look at Petro and Bichel as a pair versus Nils and Bichel. And to me, that, like I said before, that's a heavy pair that should be able to make things a little bit more difficult in front of Jake. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they're not going to get there. So I look for that. And then, like I said, the only one, Ernie, I think we're interested in, but where he may be and who he may be playing with doesn't allow him to flourish as much as I think that Ritkovian does playing with Duchesne and Sagan. So, which may be by design. Like I said, I think they want to see what the young kid or, that kind of a player can do playing with those kind of guys. And a lot of times it's about, can you think the game like the two veteran guys that have been in the league for a long time?
Yep. Next up on DLS, we will think of something to talk about for 15 more minutes. Stay tuned.
Well, we got something for a couple minutes now.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and lead
We
it
want
off,
to take
eh?
it off. Our latest Diehard sale is in full swing, and fans now have 2 ways to join. You can get in for just $36 with a limited edition shirt, or you can set up and grab a limited branded Bills Diehard hat for $59 before they sell it. Maybe you've had your eyes on one of our great t-shirts like the Finnish Mafia, the Otter shirt, maybe the 16-bit Wyatt Johnston shirt, or the Mikko Moose shirt. You can pick whichever one you want as your free t-shirt when you sign up to be a Diehard. Or go bigger and get your hands on the branded Bills Diehard hat, limited quality quantities available on those hats. Once they're gone, folks, they're gone. Either way, you get all the Diehard perks. Premium content, including excellent written articles about the Stars, Cowboys, Mavs, and Rangers, events, and merch discounts, the members-only Discord, which we're going to bring back at some point, and more. Join now and become a Diehard at alldls.com/intro.
Thanks, Leds. On top of being diehard, you can also join our YouTube Supporters Club, which is true sicko level stuff and only for the real ones. Supporters Club is the next level, folks. You become a diehard, and guess what? There's another way you can show how much you love DLS. Join the Supporters Club. With the Supporters Club, you get access to exclusive emojis there in the bottom corner. I actually have contacts in, however, it's still pretty blurry, so I guess they're not good enough. But I see Bing Bong, I see a Cowboys star, I see Big Tex, I see 88, I believe that is, and that's about it. But there's other ones as well, and I hear the more people that join the Supporters Club, the more emojis that we get, and that's, I mean, isn't that what life is all about? But you also get an exclusive badge. If you look in the chat, you see the Supporters Club, they pop up, they show very clearly on the chat, and as I said yesterday, once we get to the end of the regular season and playoffs, we're going to start really cranking up the people watching and the people in the chat, and that'll be your way to stand out so we can answer your questions. So make sure, join the Supporters Club today.
Oscar Beck's not in tonight, is he? I wanted to see him play.
No, he's out.
He's not on the roster.
He's out. Yes, he's out.
He's not injured or anything, right?
Nope, not that I know
kind
of.
of wanted
at
to
least.
get another look at him. He's always interesting.
And here's my, let's go with that, because
let's go with that.
That's kind of what we wondered on the, we wondered who was going to be in tonight, of course. That's the interesting, who's going to make the team, all those things. But it's also interesting to see who's out.
Yeah.
Because you wonder whether any of that is, we know enough. Clearly, Mikko Rantanen, they're not looking for anything more. He got his game. He played that last game. He played it about
him safe.
Yes, he played at about a quarter speed,
Yeah.
and that's how we probably want it because he didn't get injured. But same thing with Roope Hintz, same thing with Miro Heiskanen. The key here is there any reason they chose Oscar Beck as the guy out, or is it just because we know what we have in him?
Yes, they know what they have in him. But again, I'm the guy that wants a little bit more out of him. You know,
and why? Like, how so?
Well, I mean, he's an up and down guy, right? And the good news for Oscar is I don't think he's a liability out there, and that's important if you're going to be on the fourth line. When it was Beck, Steele, Blackwell, that's a line that you feel comfortable putting out there, and whether you're tied, up a goal, down a goal, and I just think that I like Steele, obviously. I think we like Steele. We know Steele can probably jump up and down the lineup. I like what Blackwell brings because he's got the tenacity and the energy, and he plays like a veteran guy for me that understands his role, what his job is, how he has to stay in the lineup. I guess I just want to see. I guess I want to see more of Beck in front of the net, in front of the offensive zone net, not his own net, because he knows what he's doing, his own zone and things like that. I think he's fine there. But I want him to see him create more because he's a big body.
Yeah.
And I think that he can cause havoc up there. And so I guess when you see the Riskovians in there and guys like that, they seem to create more in the offensive zone with their speed, and they get to the net. And I think Beck can give you more of that. I don't know him as a player prior to getting here, if his MO was just kind of what he is. But like I said, from a coach's standpoint, it's always nice to have that guy you can put out there, and he's just that.
Yep.
You know, you're not worried. You don't hold your breath and go, man, we got to get through this next 45 seconds until so-and-so can get a little rest and get underneath them. But I think when you get into certain games, and I don't think Pete did that. He kind of rolled his lines all the time. Yep. And if you can get that line to bring some energy, and I think if he can pick it up a little bit and cause a little more, some more problems in the offensive zone in front of the goaltender there.
That's a good point you just brought up, too, because Pete rolled his 4 lines almost all the time, right? It wasn't just when he could. It was really that was his goal, was to be able to do that. And it made him really hard to play against.
Which the players enjoy. I think.
Of course.
Top players don't.
Yeah.
Top players don't, because they know that if you can double shift me and things aren't going well in a game, we have the ability to turn it around.
Yeah.
Which that's where I think most players understand that. And there was, it didn't never happen to me, but if it were me out there in a normal rotation, I'd be saying, why are you putting me out there? Like, put Zuby out there, put Sador out there, put those guys out there. And I think that the way that Pete ran it, I don't know if Gully's going to do that. I think Gully's will have a better, not better, because Pete's done so. I mean, he's accomplished so many things, and I don't want to say better, but I think playing with, again, I go back to Edmonton and having some of those kind of players on that lineup that they had, where they can roll those guys, and they're like, sometimes it's not just the score, it's the tempo, it's the flow of the game, and you shorten your bench to get the flow back into your favor, and you just can't let it continue to go the way it goes, and sometimes you need guys that can give you that. And I guess that's where I go back to back, because I want to see him give a little bit more of that.
Yeah, and Golitzin said, so he's talked about how he wants to have the ability to roll 4 lines. But the key thing he says is when we can.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps saying when we can. And so I expect this team to look more like a top 9 with a grinding checking line, right? Which is not a bad thing, right?
Nope.
Especially,
a lot of teams do it.
Especially if you can roll those 3 somewhat flawlessly. And
there's a lot of people sitting here listening going, well, you guys keep talking about how short the season is and with the Olympics and rest and all this other kind of stuff. Best way to do that is to be able to play 4 lines and 6 defensemen.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think I like to win every game. And so
does this team. Yeah. It's interesting because the season's going to be such a different story, I feel like, every 10 games, right? Especially for you. You talk about, you think it's going to take 10, 20, 30, 40 games even for this system to kick in. And Golitzin said it every time we ask him. He's very honest, which I really like so far. I mean, we'll see when bullets start flying and they lose a few in a row. That'll really tell us. But so far, he's pretty honest with answering.
I have a question for you, Luds. We haven't talked about this yet, but next year they're going to 84 games, but less preseason games. How do you feel about that?
Well, as veteran players, you love that there's less preseason games, and I think as a coach, you love it because now you don't have these players that you have to look at that most of them aren't going to be there, but you still have to get them into the lineup. So you kind of cut through a lot of that and get the season going. I don't think the players have a problem with the 2 extra games. And the other thing about it is that they're planning on starting it in September. So the season will be, late September, but the season won't be extended. Because when you think of 2 games, you're thinking not just 2 games. There's 32 teams that have 2 extra games, right? And so those dates have to get put in there. Now, if they start where are we starting this? So we're starting on the 10th?
The Stars are on the 9th. So
okay, so we're starting on the 10th.
7th.
So you're starting almost 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
So those extra 2 games you get in there. But, from the standpoint of the 2 games, I think the saw-off, and it's way tilted to the extra 2 games, is that you don't have to play the preseason games. So you're now, for the young guys coming in, they only got probably a couple games to make an impression.
Quick. It's real quick.
Because the veterans will probably play 2 games. So they've got a couple games, and there'll be 3, 4, 5 guys that will have. They might get in 3 games if they're like the Ritzkovians and things like that.
Feels like the 4 preseason games is probably the right number, because if you were to play 2, it's like, all right, your veterans basically have to play both. You don't really get a lot of time to look. But at 6 just felt so long. I think we can all agree on that. Not as long as the NHL draft.
I think LA's playing 7.
Some teams do. Detroit played 8 last year, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is that right?
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, and I think you don't want to have injury. There's all these things that go into it. So I'm all good with it, especially because I think they're going to award the cup early June instead of June 20th or whatever they've been doing.
Like I said, though, the most important people, not the most important, but the happiest ones are the coaches, because they don't have to weed through all this other stuff. Because they're not the ones selecting the lineup for the most part a lot of times. It's the guys upstairs want to know, hey, we need to get a good look at this kid. We need to know if we want to give a contract to this one. And the coaches are going, okay, but he's not going to be here. This isn't my team. My team is sitting in the locker room. They're sitting up there probably having a couple beers up in the stands tonight. You know what I mean? Well, no, they wouldn't be. They'd be watching a game at Whole Foods.
Speaking of sitting up in the stands, if you're wondering why I look so hip and cool today instead of normal.
Did you say thick?
Hip.
Oh, hip.
Yes.
Who said you look hip?
Me.
You always have that. You have a hat on backwards and you have fruity shirts on. Like why
There's
are you
literally fruit on the back of this shirt. There's oranges on the back of this shirt. So that's probably
it's
what
kind
it
of
is.
like that baby blue or green.
Yeah. The reason I'm wearing this is because of
why are you look so
Miami tonight. But I am going to be sitting in the stands tonight, folks. That I have been assigned to go sit and spy on the crowd at the AAC. No, my future in-laws are in town with Katie. They are over at the arena, so I'll be sitting with them and then running back over here to do our post-game show. So I don't have
They got the tour when they came in today.
Yeah, they came in, got the tour.
They got the tour. I couldn't get in the
Luds
front
couldn't
door
get us
tonight.
in the door.
Couldn't get in the door. They
was
had it locked.
Yeah,
It was all screwed up.
It's been a good experience. Luds has met a lot of members of my family so far.
Yeah, I have.
Right?
And I always seem to meet them before we get up here.
Right
It's either
around the
in
elevator.
or yeah.
But I'm excited
Bing,
tonight
bang.
because that. Oh, we got one? Super chat. Hit it.
I know what it's going to be.
We don't need to talk about me. Super chat from T.O. That is a Madonna and 99 Cup here. Thoughts on Stars possibly building an arena in Plano? They've had discussions. As a Plano resident, I selfishly would love it. Well,
Didn't you want to bring that up?
Yes, but we only had time. We're going to talk about it in the post game more. However, Luds, the rumors and now somewhat confirmed sources with Brad Alberts giving some quotes is that Dallas is exploring all options when their lease runs out in 2031. The Mavericks have already said they're going to build something. They're leaving the AAC. The Dallas Stars are considering whether they want to add on to the AAC down here or whether they want to move. I can't remember. I think there's 6 cities, but the main one being Plano. I know Arlington was in there. Frisco was in there. What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
What's construction time on that?
I believe they said if whatever decision they make, they need to know in the next 8 months, and they need to start construction in 2028. So
And
about 3
finish-
years, 2031.
3 years it takes.
3 years is what it said.
Well, I mean, everything's growing out there. So, and it seems like, isn't that where the golf course, the new golf courses out there, or the PGA courses out there somewhere?
Oh, is it in Plano?
Isn't that out there, Ryan?
It's in Frisco, North Frisco.
Frisco.
There you go.
Yeah, it's kind of all the same neighborhood.
They have
heading
the
that way.
new Universal Studios going out there too.
Woo.
Yeah.
So there's a lot happening.
Oh, so they're trying to build it up over there.
Yeah.
How much do you think that a team needs that whole? I can't think of it. Like city block. You know, you look at Edmonton and you go to that arena, and right across the street they have all those things, the team stores and everything. I think Brad Alberts said it in one of his quotes. That's one of the main reasons is because they don't own anything over here next. I think Gallardi owns a tiny lot next to the arena. That's it though. So how important is that to have that kind of city block environment?
Well,
feeling?
you kind of control what comes and goes out there then, right?
And you're pretty much making money all day long.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to cost a chunk of change to get that
Yeah.
spot. So I think it'd be great out there. I mean, the whole thing, I think it's always about getting in and out of the building, right? I mean, getting there traffic-wise and the roads and all that other kind of stuff. You got 3 years. I'm sure they'll make it accessible a lot. I mean, I don't like driving down here.
Yeah, well, Owen would get here a little earlier maybe because, we wouldn't have to go down the toll road.
Well, the big question is, well, I don't even know if we'll still be around. I don't even know if I'll physically still be around. What am I talking?
That's only 6 years.
You're not going to
Les.
ask that question.
It's only 6 years.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because personally, this is obviously silly, but because it's 6 years away, but it'd be pretty cool to have the team practice in Frisco and play in Plano, or practice in Frisco and play in Frisco. Makes it a lot easier for someone like me who is everywhere the team is, and you don't have to drive up and down from both things. Maybe we can move our studio. Ryan, can you get on that? Move our studio.
That's a Ben question.
Yeah. So Ben said,
That's what I was wondering. Like, what happens with the studio? Like I said, that's where I was going to the first part. And
6
then
years
I
from now, we
quickly realized I might not even.
Maybe
be around.
we'll have 2 studios, a huge one. Oh yeah, I'm getting it from Ben right now. He said we can move the studio right next to the arena.
Yeah.
And you can have your own parking lot. Actually, you kind of already have your own parking lot with that guy down here.
Well, no,
your buddies?
There's a spot close to out there too.
Oh yeah, but you remember your buddies that used to help you under the bridge?
I had a couple buddies
get
underneath
into
the
the
bridge
parking
that were waiting for me every day out there.
Luds, final 30 seconds here before we sign off and head to the preseason game.
Everybody get through this game healthy, but let's see especially Ritzkovian, and then I'm going with Nils. I want to see Nils again tonight. I want this kid to do well. And then thank goodness we can move on. We can kind of start talking about the regular season game number 1 against Winnipeg. And who's the second game? Colorado? Winnipeg, Colorado. So and it will be a different Colorado team than what they're playing tonight.
That's the important thing is if you're watching the game tonight, if the Stars not only need to get out of this healthy, they need to dominate this game. Of course, the score doesn't matter. It's preseason. But go into the regular season with a little confidence. Give some of these guys a little confidence that you can beat an AHL Colorado team. Stars, Avs, next.
5 o'clock game. Let's
5
be
o'clock
over
game.
by 7:15.
We will be here for post game right after that at DLS. See you, folks.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
They better.
Yeah, they will.
We all silly like the mayor.